been on your heart?
I didn't bring an Am I the Asshole. I have an Am I the Asshole pulled up in case we want to do that. But this past week, I found down the rabbit hole of, have you ever seen this YouTuber, Kevin Lang? And his YouTube is like the Kevin Lang Show.
I don't think. Let me
It's
see.
LAN like GUE or something like that. But basically, all his videos, it's kind of like Pop the Balloon, but not like so like aggressive. It's more like social experiment type ones, where it's
So
like
aggressive.
like one of the videos was like they have to guess out of these 5 couples, one of them is siblings and the rest are all couples, and they have to like just guess based off of like how they look, how they interact with each other, kind of what their backstory is, and they kind of have to figure out, or it's like they'll be like, guess which black woman has the white boyfriend type thing.
Okay, yeah, okay,
And
yeah,
like,
I found the page.
so it's like, yeah, it's kind of like Pop the Balloon, but it's not quite so like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, it's like kind of a similar type of social experiment where people are like having to pass judgment on people or like make some sort of assumptions based off of like, not really having much information about them. But I found down a rabbit hole about it because as you're watching, you're also like trying to figure it out, right? You're like, okay, so which one do I think is the siblings, or whatever it is. Or you're like, or they have somewhere it was like, guess which dog belongs to which person or whatever. But they have some other ones that are like, they're like, guess which person is a police officer, or guess which person is a murder. They had one where it's like, guess which one of these people is a murderer or like has been convicted of murder. Like they have some like that where it's like, oh shoot, like I like, and it really taps into like how like stereotypes in a lot of ways, or like how you sort of like, I don't know, I feel like the whole time I was watching it, the reason why I wanted to bring it here, I watched so many episodes, but the reason
I can't wait to go crash out on this.
Yeah, the reason why is because it really made me check a lot of like my biases actually about people. And like, so like for example, they had the murderer one, and it's like basically out of
hold on, I need to find this. Can you send me the murderer one? Let me look at it so I can like kind of follow along.
I don't want to give anything. Actually, I'm not even going to give anything away about the murderer one because when you find out which person is the murderer, I think you'll be shocked. Because I was like, no fucking way.
Which is a clue right now. I gotta look for the one with the most shock factor.
Well, so on that one, this is guess the age. I'll have to find it after this so I don't get distracted and take up all this time. It's not
okay, so there's like a guess the millionaire.
Yeah,
I just want to see like
guess the doctor, guess who's a mom. They had like guess who's the grandma, guess the Democrat.
To, like, share. I love stuff like
Here
this.
We go, guess the murderer. I know you do. That's why I was like, oh, I have to tell. If we didn't talk about it in the podcast, I was like, I have to tell Nancy about it because I know you'll like it.
Tell me if you're gonna say.
So it's basically the other people on the panel are all actors, right? So that's the other part about it too, is like, it's not like they get people, like all the people they get for these videos are all like very average looking people. Like it's not like someone where you would look at them and clock immediately like, oh, you're an actor. Like they all just look like regular ass people. And so it really does make you think, because I'm looking at all these people, I'm like, none of y'all look like you're actors. Like, so I have no idea.
So I want to see, I wonder if I could pull this up on YouTube. Let me see. I've seen people do this before.
There's a bunch of different channels that do it, but some of them, I feel like the reason why I like Kevin Lang is because, first of all, like, most of the guys that he has on, like, the judges panel are all, like, black guys, but they're not, like, they really don't, like, they make jokes or they'll, like, be funny or whatever, but they don't usually say anything that's super offensive. Say it, like, it's, like, pretty, I like that, like, even if they're being funny or they're having to, like, they'll even call themselves out and be like, I'm just being racist right now, I'm sorry. Like, if they make a joke or something, like, one of the videos was
Can I share this? Let's see. I wonder if it'll let me. just like in case someone's looking at this and they want to get like an understanding of like what this is without
what
like
the
going
vibe
straight
is.
to their phones. How do I
Yeah.
pop it out to a new tab, new window? Okay. And then I think I can like share the screen. Let's see. Do I hit play? Oh, I wonder if I could like, I wish I could like bring it in. Share screen. Yeah. Does it?
I don't know if the
We're
audio.
trying.
Yeah, there
Can
you
you
go.
see? How
Yeah,
does it look? I wonder
see
what
it.
it looks like. Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, I wonder what it looks like on mine. I probably should have pulled my phone up. All right. Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yep.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear it.
No way. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like you can just play like maybe like 30 seconds of it or something.
Okay. Should I like fast forward to some? Let's see.
No, you
You
can.
look like he's motivated to chill.
Yeah, I can see that.
What you think, Lawrence?
I'm gonna go all the way to the left here because he ain't make eye contact with me until just now. Oh yeah, that's a killer for sure.
Ari?
I'm gonna go with the chick on the right because women have a lot of mental illness.
That's yeah. That's.
Wow.
I agree. I think it's right here in the front.
My guy in the center though.
Everybody skipped past him.
We did skip past
Yo,
him.
he turned and looked at us with so much swag.
It looked like he been getting high to forget about the trauma.
Kev, you know what he looked like? He looked like wrong path Herman.
If Herman went down the
If
wrong
he went
path.
down the wrong path, that's Herman.
We're gonna move on now to the intro round. Have you guys?
Let's see what they
What is your
actually-
name? And
So
give us
they
the full
say-
intro.
Wait,
Okay. I'm gonna
is that
fast forward.
Italian?
Where does it say who's the
No,
murderer
don't
at the
fast
end?
forward because then you're gonna find out who it is at the end. So don't fast forward.
I
No,
want to
just,
see.
just no, you gotta watch the whole thing. I promise you, you have to watch the whole thing, and we don't have time to do it right now.
Okay.
You gotta watch the
maybe
whole
25.
episode because it's crazy how it all goes down. Because also, as they're doing it, like the more questions they ask, the more they start to get convinced. The more you're like, "Ooh, is it the one that I thought it was? Maybe it's not the one that I thought it is." Now that we have this
Yeah.
information. But I just think it's really interesting. Even when they were making the joke about like a lot of women have mental illness, and then they did the record scratch, and the guys were like,
Yeah.
"Do you know what I mean?" Like it's like they'll make jokes, they'll crack jokes, but like
But
it's
not
never
really.
anything that's like super offensive.
Yeah.
You know
No.
how
Yeah.
how black people kind of just like rag on each other, like
Yeah.
just like it,
Yeah.
like it's kind of like that kind of thing where
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
cracking jokes, they're making fun of each other, but they
Yeah.
mostly make fun of like each other because they're all
Yeah.
friends. And they
Yeah.
don't really like poke fun at the contestants like that. They'll tease
Yeah.
them, they'll like whatever, but they're not. I don't think they really say anything that's like super rude or like mean or anything like that.
Yeah. I've never heard of this before. I'm super excited because
I randomly saw like a like a short came up of like a clip from one of the episodes, and it was funny, like whatever clip that they did. So I was like, "What is this thing?"
yeah.
And when I looked at, I'm not kidding. I've watched like 15 episodes. I just think that it's so fascinating, and it
Yeah.
really did check. Like for a lot of them, it really did check my biases to be like, you know what, that's crazy. I would have totally thought that it would have been like in the murderer one. Basically, like I had it in my after they had questioned so many people, I had it in my mind that it was a specific person. I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want to give it away. But
Gosh, I just want to know.
so when they first, because usually the first round they do is just off of looks. So the first round, like
Gotcha.
before
Okay.
they ask people what their names are, before they do the introduction, they go,
Yeah.
we're just gonna cast our first sort of like round pick, just
Yeah.
solely based off of how people look.
And that's really what we just saw was like just
Yeah,
the
they're
on
like,
the looks. And
they
they
were
were
just
all like,
like-
is that dude on the left?
is the dude on
He
the left or like
Definitely
yeah.
giving murder vibes.
And then they wait until people introduce themselves or they say their names. And like, so for that one, each one of them says that they have like what their murder charge
Convicted of.
is.
Yeah.
And then they'll ask them like what happened or what like can you explain in like 60 seconds what the story is
gosh.
behind like what
Yeah.
happened. So then each of them have to come up with a story because obviously
Yeah.
only one of them is actually the convicted
It's
murderer.
real.
All the rest of them are
It's
just
wild.
actors. So it's just
This is wild.
it's so fascinating to me, and I think it's just like it's a really fascinating commentary on like really how we like in a weird way, this sort of like style of video, kind of like Pop the Balloon or whatever it is, really kind of I feel like I don't know, maybe I just nerded out over it and like it's actually not that interesting and people are gonna find it interesting. But I'm just like, it really is how we, like, so much of our own like biases and experiences and whatever it is really do color how we see the world, you know, and how we like whatever. Because the one episode that was like, it was like one white dude in a chair and they had like 5 black women, and then basically the guys had to guess which one of these black women was dating this white dude, right? So they're asking them all these questions, and I just found it interesting that like how certain women responded to like what, like, because they obviously all of them black men at the table, they were like, so what made you decide to date a white man versus a black man or whatever, and that each one of the women has to like explain their reasonings, right?
Yeah.
And some of them, their reasonings are very interesting, you know, because I think it's how a lot of black women probably feel, because like, you know, it's probably how a lot of black women feel about, child, you already know what they said. Don't make me have to say it. You already know what they said. They said I'm fed up. I just think it's so interesting, you know, because then the guys were all kind of like, we're not all like that, you know, whatever. Like they're like trying to, you know, and they'll try to like fake flirt with them and like, you know what I mean? But and then also the person that I had a peg that I was like, oh, is definitely her, was not. And so it shocked me that the girl that it ended up actually being, and I was like, oh dang, like
she's probably really like mad ethnic. Was she like mad? Like did she probably have like dreads or whatever? Like completely not like. No, you said no.
No, she was like bougiana. She like she was bougie the way she was dressed. She was bougiana. Like she had like straight kind of like wave wig. She had like, she was dressed like she was going out to like a really nice like cocktail bar kind of thing.
So she's probably like the eye candy, like, oh, this is like a black man's Barbie.
Because they were all gorgeous. Every single one of them were gorgeous.
Who was the one?
Because of
like what bias of yours?
I didn't think she was the one because the way that she was talking about it, like, made me think, like, I don't know. I feel like you would like be with a black man. I don't feel like you would, or like you would just date.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
She didn't have like any hard reason, like any hard.
No, and her reasonings were all her reasonings were just kind of like, well, black men eat shit, so that's why I decided to date a black man. Like that's basically what her reasoning was. That she was like, I'm sick of dating all these like black men who don't know how to treat me right, and so I said I'm not dating black men anymore. Like that's basically kind of what her reasoning was.
Yeah.
Whereas like some of the other women were like, honestly, like I'm just gonna date whoever.
Got you.
Whoever I feel like dating, like it wasn't that serious. And actually, again, because of how the story went down, is like the woman that I thought it was is because she was from Lagos, I think, is the woman that I thought it was because he was also international. So I was like, I could see how like maybe them two internationally, like they met because, you know, I feel like, especially being here, I feel like when you're someone who's not from a place, you tend to be a lot more like open to dating like whoever because you're not from there. So you're kind of like, I'm already dating what I'm not familiar with. So like,
that's it.
You know, whatever. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting.
I can't wait to watch this show because, like, to your point, quite honestly, I never really looked at Pop the Balloon as like the judging people from the exterior. I mean, obviously they pop the balloon, but I never looked at it like your first impressions could be wrong for whatever reason. I mean, I guess I do, but I don't. Like, I never looked at it from that perspective. It's kind of like, but as you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, that is one of those shows too that people's bias, like the bias is really real because you could see someone. And it's probably because of how, like, when they ask certain questions, it's just kind of like, I've always let it like, okay, if I was out in person, would I talk to this person, right? And so then, therefore, I'm popping my balloon. And that's probably why, like, you remember, like, how back in the day, you hear about, like, back in the day, your parents would, like, connect kids together because, like, they knew how the families were and all that. it didn't really spawn, like, I don't think the healthiest of relationships. I think the best relationships really form when you can get to know a person before you just like jump into like, oh yeah, this is my man now, because then you have respect and all that stuff. But in the day to day, this here, I'm definitely like, it's flat out like, hey, where's your bias at? And so stuff like that I love. And probably especially, so I was talking to, and this probably doesn't have anything to do with this, it may or may not, I don't know. Okay. I was talking to a friend of mine. And we're talking about Drumline. And how, and he was like, well, Drumline is one of those movies that like was just a good movie, and it wasn't like a black movie, right? Yeah. But it was just a good movie, which I agree, but it was a black movie that was right. So
it wasn't like a Hollywood black movie, but like it was
it wasn't like a Wesley Snipes or whatever, those, but it represented what black, like, this is a real life, this is actually what happens in
culture. HBCU,
it's part of our, like, this is not fake, this was not like a made up theme or anything like that, and so, and he was saying that the reason why a lot of times like in his circles, like, white people will say, hey, I don't watch these movies because, like, black movies, because I don't want to hear another, I'm tired of hearing people say that white people ain't shit, or that white people do all these bad things, right? And so in that, for that reason, there's I just don't watch black movies because clearly they all talk about white people. And I'm like, first of all, that's not true.
The same could be said for like a standard like cop show where the black guy's always the criminal. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
like, it's
true.
Like
Yes, I even think it's like we're always the criminal. That's why I love like 48 Hours and movie and shows like that, because it's not just black criminals.
100%.
Right. Yeah. And so, so to kind of see this here kind of play out, like, I do wonder like how much is gonna. That's why I'm interested to watch it. It's
I can't wait to see how you're gonna be like, I did not realize that's how I see.
How do I see people? Yeah.
I'm like, dang, okay.
Because I think of myself as like, I try not to judge a book by its cover.
Same.
But I think we all do. I think we all think that.
But I think it's just inherent, and this is the thing that I found so interesting, because I also would classify myself that like I don't tend to judge a book by its cover. Like I tend to just let myself meet that person where they're at, and then just like go from there. But after watching, because they have so many different types, right? But really, they're having to make sort of like flash judgments, even like the dog one, right? Where they're like, let's see which one of these, like they're having to be like, okay, does that person look like the kind of person that would have a big dog? Like, do they have the kind of lifestyle where they're going to want a big dog? Or they're, oh, that woman's from Seattle. Okay, so she's from Seattle, so she's like this kind of person, which means she probably have this kind of dog. Yeah, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh shit. Like we're actually constantly
all the time
like having
all the time
judgments or stereotypes or whatever it is, or they're like, or they're looking at the way someone's dressed. Like there was one that was, it was just 10 people, and they had to figure out who was coupled with who in that group of 10 people. So it's just like 10 random, it's basically 5 random couples, and they've mixed around all the people, and they're basically like, we have to figure out who's dating who in this group of 10 people. And it was interesting because up until like halfway through the video, none of them had paired any like gay or lesbian couples together, right? Like it was all sort of like a man with a woman, kind of like in the group, right? Yeah. And then as they started getting halfway, they realized there was more men in the group than there was women. And they were like, oh, wait a minute, somebody.
Holy crap.
Yeah, like, it's like they did. And so I was like, that's so interesting, because the panel is primarily straight men, as far as I know. Like, I don't think any of them have said in any of the videos or like come out as like bisexual or anything like that. Like, they all kind of seem to be straight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting that as a straight man, you would see this group of people and you would immediately assume that they're all like heterosexual relationships. Whereas like I looked at that group and I immediately was like, okay, she could maybe be dating her. Like, you know, he could maybe be dating him. Like, I was looking at it, even how I looked at it, and I was like, wow, that's so informative about like how I see the world and I see people in the world versus how they see the world. Like, there was even another one where they were doing guess what everyone's like high school superlative is. So like your superlative would be like, you know, most likely to succeed, or like, you know, most cheerful energy, or, you know, like that kind of stuff. So they had a group of people, and they're trying to figure out, and there was a gay guy, and they kept saying he, and then one of the guys was like, actually, so sorry, can we just double check, like, it is he, or, you know, do you use any other pronouns? And I was like, oh wow, okay. And then even I was surprised that the guy who ended up calling it out, because he's usually the one, he kind of reminds me of like Kevin Hart, where he's usually the one always like cracking jokes and people, and like, you know, kind of like doesn't take it serious. And he's always, anytime there's any women, he's always trying to get with the women. Like, he's just a certain archetype of person. And so it was him that was like, wait, let me just check. You know, let me check on your pronouns. You know what I mean? That I was like, I would have never thought. So then I realized, wow, I had already made a passing judgment about him as a person. Yeah. And like, you know what I mean? I just think it's so interesting. I don't know, maybe I'm nerding out about it, but I
love that. So because there's so many different types of scenarios, and it's like, it's one of those things that it's almost like, should it be a class in school? Not in school, but like, should it be maybe in school? You know, like, as I think through, like, what is our education system actually teaching? It's teaching arithmetics, and it's teaching, but it doesn't teach social skills. Right? Like, when we talk about like social studies, we talk about the government and things of that sort. But like, we're not talking about like what is like true social study. Let's study what society actually looks like,
is and looks like,
what it is, and then how could your biases impact the way that you even vote? How could your biases impact the, you know what I mean? I feel like it's one of those things that should this be taught, because, or brought to some sort of forefront, right? Like, why is it that we're waiting till just now? And I gosh, this is like, so now like I'm like sagging like you, because it's like, it's so deep, right?
You fall down the rabbit hole of it.
Because like, especially like in these times that we're in, and, you know, America's gone like crazy, and I hate that it's like trying to drag the world with it.
I know.
And so like, but like, if, let's say that we all had the ability to like learn, like, if you could go back to second grade and start learning, all this is making, quite honestly, it all makes sense now. Like, and why people don't want people to learn this, so that you can grow up with these biases. But if you could introduce true society to children, it's not saying, hey, this is how you should behave, or this is just the kind of people that are out there. So maybe what needs to happen is like, how do you formalize a curriculum, or make it be like a choice, right? Maybe it's not mandatory, but just something, or even if it's a mandatory curriculum, how do you formalize it in such a way that maybe you talk about the you know, transgender that invented something maybe down the road, or you talk about this, like, we've got like the first trans is a Congress woman in office, like that should be part of the history book. So hey, like, these are the kind of people that are shaping our world, and we shouldn't be afraid of Black people. We shouldn't be afraid of Hispanic people, because guess what Hispanics have contributed to America is not even in the history books. So when you see a Hispanic person, if you're asking who's the millionaire, you're not going to pick the Hispanic person, because society has said they are poor, they ain't shit, they are less likely than. but that should be that millionaire. Hopefully that's the millionaire. It's somebody that nobody would ever think. But when someone thinks of what does a millionaire look like, they think of a wealthy white male. Now they're thinking of a wealthy black male these days, or even wealthy
white women.
It's starting to look different, but when you say billionaire with a B, like pick the billionaire. Who gonna pick the billionaire?
But see, this is the thing, and this is
what's the billionaire look like?
This is why so many like parents were coming out and saying like, you know, having issues with, you know, elementary school schools, like talking about, you know, even just LGBTQ community things in school, because they don't want them, because again, like this is how you control a large mass in a group of people, right?
Yeah.
By controlling their views and manipulating how they see the world.
Yes.
To really like truly sag out about it. It's interesting, especially because I live in a foreign country, right? It is so interesting to me that I never really realized how in America we are really taught that like America is number one. We are the bestest. We are at the forefront. We are out here killing it. We are out, you know, whatever.
USA.
Right. And then you get to other countries and like, for example, even, I think I've said this to you before, like even now sometimes American tourists in London really drive me nuts, because there's a way in which, and why people don't really love American tourists, or even British tourists quite often as well, that people don't really love them, is because the way in which we show up in spaces as if we are the most important people in that space. And it's because of like, you know, how we all are taught about our country, and how we like the words that we use about like, you know, America was out there fighting for everyone and really out here like global superpower and all this shit. When it's like there is actually a whole lot of worlds out there that was doing things and existing long before America was even a country. Okay. And like have long established sort of like rules of how people support each other in society and like et cetera, et cetera. And like you can't just rock up in there and be like, what do you mean you don't speak English? Or like, do you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. Like I'm like, are you dumb?
You are not. And I do, you know, the US we came when we were kids, so we're immigrants to the US, right? So like we came here for purpose, and we, you know, my parents been able to build a good life and give us the drive needed to do the same for ourselves. And so, but then the older I get, the more I'm like, oh, now I understand why they always listen to like world news, or found like my dad will find like clips of like news in Africa and like send it to us, and like, but he never really explained why. He was just sharing, and I'm like, well, okay, that shouldn't affected me. But like now that I'm understanding how the world actually works, and that like in America, in the United States of America, you can't even watch world news unless you have certain cable packages or whatever that even allows you.
You subscribe to some sort of like independent or international news source where you might get news from other countries. Yeah.
But there's no, you know, and I was saying like now I get off work and I'm like, you know, I try to go and tap into what's happening, of course, in the US. Now I'm trying to keep up with what's going on in Europe. You know, like there's the Russia-Ukraine war. It's a real big deal to the world. Then you've got BRICS that's happening. So like Brazil, like you've got South Africa, then Congo. There's so much going on in Congo. There's so much going on in the world right now that all ties to each other. And so I intentionally go and seek out this. And it was like, you know, and it's a foreign concept. Americans are literally this is literally one of the only countries that I'm aware of, I could be wrong, that is like the orange man is trying to speed up isolationism, right? Isolationalism. But is that the word?
Yeah,
but
it's like nationalism and isolation, but
they go to yeah. And so but we have always been a very nation first. I mean, to the point where like, you know, I might make a comment like so and so is, or the folks in Europe are looking at US politics, and it's like, what do they care? And I'm like,
or like, what do they know? They don't live here. They don't know. They don't have. Like.
They're burning flags in Europe. They burned American flags in Europe. Why do you think they doing that? Because they just want to hate America? It's not. So like all these things, like these biases, all this stuff, you kind of take it back to the show. All these biases that, to your point, that we have, it really shapes even what kind of information we're open to receiving, what kind of information we're intentional about receiving, what kind of information we just like push to the side and ignore. The thought process of, hey, my race, my this, my that is one thing that started to drive me absolutely crazy is, and I had a sorority sister say this when we were younger, and I didn't understand what she was saying until 20 years later.
Yeah.
She said, I am not African American. I'm Black. Okay. And I couldn't understand why she said that.
Yeah.
But now I do. Yeah. And it's because, and it's like the audacity for a country to say, like, if you're Black, you're African American.
Yeah.
You're not American. You are African. Hey, your descendant is in Africa. You are, but then if you're white,
you're just American.
You're just American. And that is so deep. And so when we're looking at people, there's Hispanic, there's all these other things that say you are not of this country. Then there's white, which says you are of this country. And then we don't think that plays a role in how we even 100%. Think of ourselves.
It's 100%. It's 100%.
Who we think owns the land.
The word and the phrase of this whole like time period in history really truly is the cognitive dissonance, because it really is just like, if you actually sat and thought about it, but you're just like existing in a constant state of cognitive dissonance. That's what it is. You're just not there. You're not there. Like, you're like, that's not me though. Like, it's like, huh? No, but that's not why I feel the way I feel. It is, though. It is.
It absolutely is. And it's like, oh my God, this was so good, Elana. Like, I could not, like, this show, like, it just sparked just so much, you know? It's just.
This is what I've been geeking out about it, and I've been driving Sammy nuts. I've been talking his ear off all week about it, because I'm like, whoa. Or like, even like, this is also kind of like slightly off topic, but it brought up a conversation between us about, you know, the thing how we were talking about before of like, would you let let's say, would you let your boyfriend go on a trip with his girl best friend, just the two of them without you, right?
No.
And right, like my first reaction would be no. His first reaction would be absolutely not. But then it was like, the more that we talked about it, I was like, well, Sammy has a childhood best friend. Her name's Rosa. I've met her several times. And I'm like, well, actually,
they've never like,
but I'm like, well, actually, if it was Rosa, right? And I was like, oh, you were going to go on a trip with Rosa, like, it wouldn't bother me one bit. I'd be so unbothered and unconcerned about it. So I was like, so maybe this is not actually about, because the context matters. The context matters.
Yeah.
Because I was also like, because I was telling him, I was like, because like, let's be honest, you know, if you trust me and you know that I'm your person and I would never betray you or hurt you like that, even if I was on a trip with a best friend that happened to be a guy, and even if that guy, you thought he liked me or he made a move on me or like whatever it is, at the end of the day, you have to trust me, right? And know that like, even if that happened,
you ain't gonna do nothing.
I wouldn't participate. Like, you
know
what I mean?
Gonna try you, but he's still gonna try you.
Like, even if he tried me, like that would be the end of our. That would be the end of our friendship, though.
Do you not think about like the danger behind it?
But that's what I'm saying. There's no danger if we actually genuinely trust each other.
No, not that part. Not that part. Like the danger behind, like,
But like him, like trying to take advantage even after I've said.
Yeah, that's all. That's the only thing that I would be like.
Definitely.
If, you know.
Definitely. But I'm just saying that then that wouldn't be me cheating on you. That would be a completely different situation.
Right.
That would be a completely different situation.
Right.
So in the terms of like, oh, I'm worried about you cheating on me kind of thing, I was like, well, actually, now that I think about it, I really don't think I'd be that, because I was like, now that I'm thinking about you, and I'm not just thinking about the situation, I'm thinking about what kind of person you are. I'm like, you would never, like, he just doesn't have it in him to, like,
do that.
He just doesn't have the energy or, like, the brain capacity to, like, run a whole side plot and, like, mission and not tell me about it. He overshares. He tells me things that I don't even want to know sometimes. So
Yeah. Hey, that's you.
So interesting.
Power to you, sister. Look, I am on the trip. I'm there. I'm being in the middle of the bed. We can all go together, okay?
Use that as an example to say that it just, in so watching and me being in the spiral of watching all these videos, it also has just sparked all these other, like, random, like, me starting to check myself of, like, dang, I really just be out here acting way more closed-minded than I thought I did.
Yeah, which I'm curious to see, like, what exposes it about myself, and I think that, like, if anybody watches it, be honest with yourself as you're watching. Don't lie to yourself now. Don't go making excuses. I was watching this video. It's a quick clip on Instagram today, and it was a white professor. He comes in and he's teaching. Everyone's in the classroom. There's an Asian student. There's a Hispanic girl, and then you got a black student, you got a white student, and you got, like, a European student. She was definitely giving, I'm from Sweden, or not Sweden, but like Ireland or something.
Yeah.
And so you've got, like, a hodgepodge of students from different places, and the Hispanic student is who was picked on, the Hispanic girl, and she had an accent, and he was like, "You young lady, leave my classroom and don't ever come back." And she's like, "Wait, what? What?" And he's like, "Leave right now. I don't ever want to see you back in here." And she's like, "What did I do?" "Don't make me tell you another time." And it was like, holy shit. But everybody looking at each other, ain't anybody said nothing. The girl gets up, she leaves. Why are you
calling her? Yeah.
So she leaves, and then the guy, the message of it was, like, he was like, why do we have, like, why do we have laws or something? People are guessing. Someone finally says, to ensure justice. He says, bingo. So he says, was it not, and why did you not stand up to me in the face of injustice? What I just did to your classmate, was that just? And why did no one question what I was doing? And so it was so good. I love me the comments. I love a good comment section. I was like, oh, go straight. Let's dive on into the comment section. So I dived into a comment section, and folks were like, great video, and they were explaining the whys, and then you could clearly see the people who this hit their bias, who are, because they started making excuses like, well, you don't have the context of why he did that. See, without enough context, it don't matter. Context of the bias does not matter. How do you know that they're being biased, or that there's a reason to, if you don't ask the question of why? And even take it back to my friend talking about the videos, right? Hey, white people don't watch these movies because they don't want to hear another black person say that they are, the white man is holding them back.
Yep.
And so I agreed, while there are Black American movies have this heavy emphasis on, this is woe is me sometimes. Not all, but there are some movies that are very, I'm in the hood, I'm impoverished because the white man got me here.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on the fact that these movies do this, why don't we ask the question, why?
Why is this the narrative? Why is this the narrative that exists in all these movies? Or
yes. Let's
come from? Where does that
come from? So when I watch these shows and stuff, that's probably something I'm going to be saying to myself, because it's like, we got to stop. The only way you can move past the bias is to question what you're seeing. Why is this here in the first place? Oh, this was good, girl.
Yeah. We had 2 really good topics today. This was a long episode.
Hey, it was good. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. It's like I could do this like this could be like my full-time job. Like, true talk. If someone just paid us hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just to talk.
Period. That sounds like the perfect job for me, honestly. I got a lot of opinions.
I got a lot of things to say. I got a lot of thoughts. I got a lot of opinions.
Say about a lot of things.
You know? So this was great. Okay, so how have we been ending these? Peak of the week.
Yeah, like your message.
Moment of gratitude. Message.
Yeah, gratitude, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What's your takeaway?
Takeaway.
Do we even do these episodes? We don't even know how these episodes end. Do we do this?
What did we say last time? Was it advice? Was it like advice last time?
Yeah, I think it was advice. But I think if I'm going to pick, what I'm going to pick for my takeaway is that, or it could be like advice plus takeaway plus thing I've learned.
Yeah,
kind of
whatever.
One statement, which is like, I really want to be intentional about living my life with my eyes wide open.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that everybody should too.
Man, that's good. That's good. Can I just piggyback on that? Because
piggyback on that. That could be the message.
Because that's the message. That is so the message. Because we've got to pay attention to what is happening. You've got to wake up. You've got to open your eyes.
Yeah.
And the only way that you move forward, the only way that you protect yourselves, you love on your loved ones, is by living with your eyes wide open. So that is good. That is our closing message for the day. Boom, bam. Good, hitting us with some good
pull something out.
It's a Saturday, you know what I mean? Like, it's a Saturday. Yeah, all of them. Like, this is a good Saturday braining. I started off with a really bad headache, but like, this was such a great combo. Okay, well, enjoy your weekend, honey.
Thank you.
And until next time.
Thanks for joining us. Find us on the internet. Leave a comment or something.
Yeah, like for real. You have our ads.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a website. You know, let's we don't ever shout out like your website. Let's shout out your website.
My website is texturesmovementcollaborative.uk. It's textures without an E. So, text. Because the one with the E was taken. And that's the only reason.
Yeah, which sucks. So yeah, put it in the comment section. I don't know how we're gonna post this. Yeah, put it in the thing. Yeah.
I don't know what's on there, but check it out.
It's all of your movements and right?
Yeah. I like dance and stuff. I like have choreographed some things if you want to see.
Jeez. Please, y'all, go check out Elana Goodman at Textures Collaborative. TexturesCollaborative.uk.
Yeah.
You need a choreographer. She's your girl. She's bomb. She's a badass. All right. She got you. Do things. She be out here doing it. So please go out there, check out her work, and share. Follow her also on Instagram at Elana.
Yeah. If you want to see your
so I do. Follow her work and her face. Okay. And that's on Instagram for sure. I think TikTok too.
I don't really post on TikTok. I should, but I really don't. So.
Okay. TikTok. And then, y'all follow me on Instagram.
You don't follow Nancy, you don't know where to find her. That's crazy. And you're out of pocket.
If my homies ain't coming at the world with that kind of energy, I want them. Send them back. Y'all, if your friends do not come at you with that kind of energy, send them return. I beg, return to send that. Hey, yes. And then we have recently launched Shea Trendy Group Instagram. Yeah. So, yes. So you can find that on my page. There's a link there. Or just go find Shea Trendy Group on Instagram. CHEZTRENDI Group on IG. And also, obviously, the website. So, but all that stuff, I do link it on my page. So, please go check it out. Subscribe to our newsletter. Okay, we have a Shea Trendy Group newsletter. For those of you that don't know who Shea Trendy Group is, it's a space where you come and we get to kiki, and sip some conversations, get some girl time, kiki time. And then we also have free community events on personal, professional empowerment. And then sometimes we'll do some little sprinkles of financial empowerment as well. Mm-hmm. Up in there, and we offer services through Shea Trendy Group. Services include career coaching and like personal coaching, right? So if you need any of that stuff, go to the website, check us out.
Basically, if you need to get your life together and you want somebody to help you do that,
yeah.
we can help you do that.
We
Not
got you,
saying we're the experts, but we do know how to help other people get their lives together.
Exactly. So we've got like true curriculum and things of that sort. Yeah. So please go out, check us out, sign up for the newsletter. New newsletter goes out on Tuesdays. Yes. First Tuesday of the
No, it's Tuesday of the month. Monday's going to be the blog post stuff. So
okay.
So go look at both because there's different information on both. So
yeah,
because we're doing all this work, so somebody go look at it.
Period. Okay. So anywho, until next time.
Bye. Happy love.
Wait, is this a heart? I can never do it.
You know the
Am
kids.
I doing
The kids are doing this one.
Oh, Lee.
It's like this, and then you like make a hook. There you go, and then stick it together. You got it. That's what the kids are doing.
How are your fingers?
Carpal tunnel.
Y'all got it. All right, bye.